Okay, friends, we have a pretty interesting article here. Tim Kirby Russia, hardcore on Telegram, right up there. It says Russian State Duma Deputy Anatoly Wasserman proposed to limit the storage of cash exceeding 1 million rubles by citizens and to fine Russians for concealing large sums from the tax authorities. Interesting topic, and before we even get into it, let me know in the comments what you think. Should people be banned from storing cash in their homes? And if so, how much? So anyways, let's jump into this. Now, the second part of the statement about fine Russians for concealing large sums of cash from the tax authorities. Well, that's one of those things where that's already a crime, is concealing vast sums of money that you, in theory, earn from the tax authorities. That's sort of already a crime here and there and everywhere. You know, the whole Al Capone was brought down by the tax authorities that are there in the IRS. So that's kind of not new information. I always worry, guys, whenever something that's already illegal is kind of made double illegal, it always kind of smells fishy. Although I personally know Anatoly Wasserman. He's a really great guy. I think his heart is in the right place almost 99.9% of the time. But on this particular issue, Anatoly Bubala, I'm not feeling it. Anyways, let's get to his main statement, though, about this. That is kind of weird. So he wants to limit the maximum amount of cash that you can have in your home to 1 million rubles. And the question is, why such a small amount? This kind of reminds me of, you know how the Democrats will say, we need to tax the rich. And by tax the rich, they generally mean people who make like $100,000 a year or more, who are doing pretty good for themselves, especially on a global standard, but they're certainly not rich. And this is kind of the same thing. Like, Anatoly, I love you, but the Russian middle class might have like 1 million rubles stashed in their home, and that doesn't mean they're part of some grand corruption scandal. In fact, later on the article continues here, quote, according to Wasserman, such measures would help Russia in the fight against corruption, as well as against the illegal financing of extremist activities. In addition, the deputy thinks that large amounts of cash kept by citizens are the result of activities in the shadow economy. Well, even if they are part of the shadow economy, so what? I think one of the reasons why Russia survived this war is because 1/3, generally they say about maybe realistically they say a fourth or a fifth, who knows, maybe even a third of the Russian economy is in that gray shadow economy where people are doing stuff it's not illegal, it's not harmful per se. Well, it's harmful for the tax authorities, but essentially a lot of the Russian economy is invisible because it's quasi-illegal, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that. Let people do what they want to do. It keeps the country afloat. Who cares? Doesn't hurt anybody. Remember, something has to be illegal if it causes harm. And yeah, maybe it is kind of bad when people don't pay their proper taxes, but whatever. I want to see the country survive. That's number one for me. Now, yeah, true. Illegal organizations probably pretty much thrive on cash money as a means of exchange because it's hard to trace. Yeah, I get that, but does that really mean that then everyone in the country can't hoard cash if they want to, especially that small amount of money that the Russian middle class has? I mean, there's a lot of people. Like, if this was something like 10 million rubles, it's a pretty decent amount. 50 million rubles, you know, because if you think about it, who's going to be hoarding 50 million rubles? That's someone where they had to have gotten that money from somewhere. That is a large sum of money. You know, we're talking, what's $1 million is something like 60 million rubles is like $1 million, give or take. So something around that much, yeah, that's the kind of money you don't get by working an honest job. You know, you have to be doing some sort of major dealings there to have it. But 1 million rubles is like $15,000. The Russian middle class has that, legit, from legal work. You know what I mean? I've had that much amount of money in my bank account, and once in a bag, like 2 times in my life so far, maybe 3, I don't remember. So that's not that much money. That is not that much money. So I don't get it. I think he mentions somewhere, I guess it's not here, but on another source I read, that he was sort of comparing this to how the one journalist and a television show host who's in now an accused foreign agent, Ksenia Sobchak, when she fled Russia, or maybe before she fled. Anyways, they raided her place and she had like €1.5 million euros or something. Yeah, that's the kind of money that raises some eyebrows. You don't get paid that much money for, helping your buddy dig out a drain. But still, so again, it's the sort of, why is the amount of money so small? And also, guys, we have to think about when we talk about these kind of topics, you have to think about also that, well, how is the government going to find it? Because first off, thank goodness, at least in Russia for now, probable cause is a real thing. No one's going to come to your home unless there's probable cause. And since you've kind of been secretly moving money in there, well, there's no probable cause. Unless you're like throwing some sort of weird money parties or you're throwing money off your balcony there, no one is going to know about it. And so essentially, it's not going to change anything, because when do the police find huge piles of money via ill-gotten gains at some person's place of residence? When they go to raid it because they've committed a bunch of other crimes and tax evasion and maybe extremism before that. So essentially, this changes nothing. It changes absolutely nothing, because the only time the government would actually find these hoards of money is when they've already raided someone's house based on suspicions of something else. So again, this is just making some things that are sort of already illegal, like double illegal. Why do this? I don't get it. Anatoly, I love you, but man, this is just not a great idea. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Should there be a maximum amount of cash that you can hoard? Do we need to live in a cashless society? Would that protect us from extremist organizations? Or should we all have the right to have as much cash as we want, even if that's a mechanism that does allow people to do bad things in society? Let me know in the comments. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you like the opinions coming out of my big fat mouth, then join up on my Telegram channel. That's Tim Kirby Hardcore on Telegram. Link, of course, in the description.